to be able to spend time with God, like to know that when I feel discouraged, when I get tired, when get weary, when I get depressed, when I get sad, when I get angry, that I have a place to go so that those emotions do not dwell in me to the point where they overtake me. So I think it's really, really, really important to start spending time with God. And even in those moments where it's like, I just don't feel like it, I'm not feeling it. When you start, I don't want to say forcing yourself to spend time with God, but when you just start stepping into his presence day after day, it becomes easy. It's really like a habit. So stepping into his presence day after day after day, then you start noticing something like, this feels great. Like I have extra strength. I have extra energy. I'm not as down as I used to be. Like I have this extra oomph where I feel like I can endure the day. And of course, explaining it, to someone who may not have yet experienced that oomph, it's not gonna sound like it's possible if you have not tapped into constantly, daily seeking God, getting in the Word and things like that. When I came out here to Fort Knox, I told myself like I'm about to go in, But before I went in, I had to conquer those days where I did not want to go in, because I realized in order to stay in, I had to stay in. And so it was mornings where I would literally wake up, like when you wake up in the morning and those thoughts of, dang, I just want that extra hour of sleep, or I could be asleep right now, or I could be doing this, or I could be doing that. When you start like spending more time with God, when you start waking up, it's like I get to do this. I get to do like I could be getting more sleep. It's like you don't even think about it because you recognize that extra sleep doesn't give you that extra strength that you need, like spending time with God does. That extra sleep doesn't really bring you that comfort like God does. And it will be moments where I will even go to bed late and I'm like, dang, I gotta spend time with God in the morning. But even though I went to bed late, it did not prevent me. I did wake up groggy, but I still didn't crave that sleep. So the lateness of me going to bed did not prevent me from saying, okay, I'll just, push my Bible time up a little further, or I just want to spend time with God today, because I recognize that I need to stay in the presence of God, that I need his word, to be dwelling so deeply in me that I will not be shaken, that I will not be uprooted, that I will not let the circumstances of my day win. And so that's why it's like really important daily to pray, daily to see God. And I'm not gonna lie, praying is a hard discipline. But when you get disciplined in it, it becomes so easy. I'm talking about, y'all, when you recognize spirits operate behind people, when you recognize that chaos and confusion is knocking at your front door, it's like you go into warfare mode instead of worry mode. You go into like battle mode instead of thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Like, you literally surrender it to God. Like, God, this is going on. Like, I know you see it, but let me go ahead and audibly tell you that I see it too. And let me audibly proclaim that I believe that you can do something with it. Y'all, since I've been out here, when I tell you, you not finna play with me. And it's like, I'm not even coming for people. When I get hit with the attitudes, when I get with the little sideways comment, y'all, when I tell y'all, it don't bother me, because I'm always like, look, persecution will come. I'm wrestling not against flesh and blood. Like the word starts coming up as I experience stuff in my everyday life. And that's why it's so important to stay rooted and grounded in the word, because when stuff starts coming to your door, you really stop looking at it from the natural. And it's not, sometimes things are natural, right? But I do believe that we serve a God who has power in the supernatural and the natural, and he can shift things around. So it's not like that paranoia of like, oh my gosh, here goes another spiritual attack. Oh my God, this, and this. Some things are, sometimes natural. Everything is not an attack from the enemy. But still, you can still pray regarding those supernatural experiences and those natural experiences. So please, please, please get a discipline. I don't care. Let me tell you, do not try to look at somebody else walk and they say, oh girl, I pray an hour every morning. Oh, I be doing my quiet time for 2 hours every morning. Because if you start from right there, you're going to overwhelm yourself. I do believe God works with us in increments, like he does when he gives us revelation, like he does when he works on us individually. Like, you may be in a season where God is purging you so he can show you your next assignment. God will not purge you and then and while he's purging you, show you your next assignment, because I believe that our interests will be divided. We would not pay so much attention to the purging process than we do to the assignment because we already want to be over there. But now realizing that the purging is necessary for the assignment. So I believe that God deals with us in increments and God grows us in increments. So give God some incremental time so that as you pray for 15 minutes for the next 2 weeks, you start desiring to spend more time with him. It's the development of the time. Because those 15-minute prayers, I'm not going to lie. Like, if you just not disciplined in it and you start off with just 5 minutes, okay, I did the 5 minutes. Okay, I did this. But as you constantly do it, you start tapping into who he is. You start tapping into his presence. Then you start feeling his peace and his presence. You're like, damn, I want to stay here. And so you create more time to stay there, and God stays there with you. So I just wanted to share that. Because y'all, God really will meet you where you are. God is not going to meet you in those 2 hours because you have not cultivated the capacity to spend time with him in those 2 hours. So if you can meet him in 15 minutes, he will meet you in those 15 minutes because you dedicated the time. He will not meet you in 2 hours because if your 2 hours is predicated on what sister so-and-so is doing it, so I should do it, that means your mind is not set on meeting God. Your mind is on a checklist. Like, I did it. Ooh, I did it. I'm more holy now, or I'm more sanctified now, or I could pray for 2 hours now. And the motive is wrong. No one believes that we serve a God who sees our heart posture. But I didn't want this video to be that long. I just pray that just kind of speaks to somebody. Like, really cultivate some discipline and some time with God. It's the best. It is the very best. And, I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to cut it off right here. Hopefully. Growing up, I've heard a lot of pastors, preachers, and, people, mentors I look up to, talking about how they spend time with God, how they spend time with God. And I'm not going to lie, it went in one ear and out the other. Like, it wasn't really something that I was like, okay, cool. But, as I started walking out my walk as a believer, I felt like I had to spend as much time as they did with God. But in that mindset, it wasn't me choosing to know God. It was me creating some type of legalistic mentality or law that I had to fulfill. But then as I started spending time with God, I was like, I see what they talking about. So please don't beat yourself up if you haven't cultivated a morning quiet time. If you don't sense God waking you up at 3 a.m. in the morning, if your immediate go-to is not to pray, you have to develop that. You have to build your spirit up. Y'all, that's why the Bible says, the flesh and the spirit are at war. The spirit wants to do the things of God. The spirit wants to seek God. The spirit is from God, so the spirit wants what God wants. But sometimes our flesh overrules our spirit because we have not built our spirit man up. So when you give into the desires of your flesh a lot, you build up your flesh to want those things. So if you're not used to waking up every morning to seek God, your flesh is not finna be like, hey, I want to wake up every morning and seek God, because it does not benefit your flesh, right? But when you spend time with God and you seek his word and things like that in the morning or whenever it is, you build your spirit up. And so now your spirit puts your flesh under and say, hey, we got to spend time with God today. When your spirit recognizes something going on, hey, we got to pray. It's like an immediate. Y'all, I don't know how much more thoroughly I can explain this because, I ain't got the little biblical terms and things like that. But I'm telling you, when you build your spirit up, your spirit be up there fighting your flesh like, it's my time. It's go time. So I just encourage you, write out something that works for you. Create a discipline, whether it's 5 minutes. Give yourself grace. God has given you grace. Give it to yourself and give it to others. Nobody is expecting you to walk like another believer. God did not create you to walk and be like another believer. He created you to be like you. And in those increment times, he will build you up to the fullest of what he's created you to be. But just give him that time. Don't rush the growth. Don't rush the process. Because let me tell you, God meets you in the minor as well as in the massive. So I just pray that it encourages somebody. Y'all, just build yourself up in discipline. Just build yourself up. Run your race and watch God walk with you and run with you at your pace. Love y'all. I pray this bless y'all.